Has the government created that enabling environment for Postal Corporation of Kenya to thrive?
That's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm on this seat.
Is it thriving?
I'm turning that entity around with the support of everybody else within that institution and the ministry.
What does it need? Postal Corporation of Kenya.
E-commerce. It's as simple as that. We must move away from the traditional courier business that Posta has been accustomed to. The only avenue that we have is for Posta to become an e-commerce and logistics hub. Posta has got the widest network of facilities in this country, for purposes of logistics. As we speak, we are on the verge of acquiring a partner by way of e-commerce platform. We are also on the verge of, at the tail end of acquiring a service provider for a payment gateway. So we want to move away from the traditional way of doing business, and there's already fundamental progress in this regard. As we speak, Posta is now already doing last mile delivery of passport. Posta is doing last mile delivery of medical supplies, leveraging on the enormous infrastructure that it has. Posta has just gotten into a partnership with the Radio Africa Group to also do last mile delivery of newspapers and MyGov, lying therein. So there's a lot of potential, but it requires divergence in thinking. Okay? There has to be some level of creativity. We are determined to turn Posta into a logistics hub, leveraging on e-commerce. And to facilitate this, there's also fundamental work in progress. We already have a national addressing system, policy and bill ready, which I'm progressing to cabinet. Subsequent to that, it will go to parliament for purposes of enactment into law, so that we have got the requisite infrastructure from a technological perspective, and also a strong foundation on that can facilitate e-commerce, last mile delivery through e-commerce. So that is work in progress. We are determined to turn around that institution, because Posta is a brand. And for whatever reason, if you talk to any Kenyan, every Kenyan appears to be sympathetic to the case of Posta. Everybody wants to see Posta thriving. For a start, a critical success factor would be also enhancing the staff motivation levels. When we came into office, we had got about 5 months salary arrears, which we have been struggling to offset. As at December, we managed to pay a whopping 435 million shillings to staff to clear all the salary arrears. And moving forward, I've given instructions to the management and governance of Posta that the first line item of expenditure every month should be staff salaries. I don't want to see a situation where we are lagging behind in settlement of payment of staff salaries.
Was it something that you mentioned is an instrument or a channel or a tool that a lot of other countries are using? And that's when you talk about Posta being the poster child for e-commerce. The Amazon that you mentioned, they use the US portal service, postal service, to send goods around the continental US and then around the world. And all of these systems work in tandem. But the basic infrastructure is in place in order for such a thing to happen. Now, when you speak these words, it's exciting to hear. But then the hope is that the groundwork will actually be done for such things to happen. Because if you talk about salvaging Posta, that's one way in which it can happen. But for it to grow up from mere words to be an adult in action, the infrastructure worries me, because is it actually in place? Or is it aspirational?
You see, we have got some dilapidated infrastructure that we have to work on. So part of this process should entail upgrading the existing infrastructure. Now, let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit at all levels. We have got plans. We have always had these plans since time immemorial, but the implementation level is what?
Zero.
Almost zero. And you have to be deliberate in whatever you want to do. And that requires leadership, transformational leadership. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. Because there are also people who are benefiting from that status quo and would want the status quo to prevail. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion, and even be ready to step on people's toes if you are to change some of these things.